G'day folks, welcome to the start of this first tutorial scenario from Operation Dauntless. The first thing I need to say is that this is a learning experience for me. I am learning as I go. That's what's recommended. The guide says glance through the rulebook, familiarise yourselves with the general terms and mechanics, but don't try to memorise the rule. Instead, use the index and table of contents to locate rules when needed. And basically just jump in and see how you go. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I have set up, this is tutorial T1, movement, zoc, and combat delay at Fontenay. I'm going to see how we go. So look, I kind of will explain things as I move through, and we'll just see how we go. We'll move through. The back of the rulebook has an abbreviated sequence of play. I'm going to be kind of using this. There's a full section inside the rulebook, but we're going to try and use this abbreviated sequence. I've got the various sheets. There are also tutorial scenario rules in section 18.T. That is in the scenario rulebook. And that just basically says, yeah, don't worry about all these other things. What does it say specifically? Don't worry about line of sight, smoke, what else? Don't worry about reinforcements, assets, artillery. Yeah. So here we go. Player 1 reset phase. Reset fired weapons, variable weather, optional rule, assets. Any spent assets are placed back in the draw cup. Tactical recon. We're not using that. Blah, blah, blah. Reinforcements, replacements. Player 1 action phase. Each of player 1's units in any order may perform one of the following actions. So I should point out as well, the scenario booklet has some what are called strategic notes. As a British player, you will need to press the attack, trying for 4-1 or better odds, and attempting to surround German units when possible. Keep in mind that an easy OC does not extend to close terrain. And use your carrier platoons to exploit gaps in the enemy line. Even dismounted, they are still your fastest units with a movement allowance of 6. Okay, how do they have a movement allowance of 6? I don't understand that. That's a step loss, is it? That looks to be a step loss. I don't see anything here with a movement allowance of 6. I'm confused by that. As a German player, you'll find yourself retreating and forming up again each turn, falling back a bit voluntarily, blah, blah, blah. Form a contiguous line of units or zocs. You won't be attempting, your units are single steps, so you won't be attempting recovery rolls, but don't forget to dig in whenever possible. Your pioneers can dig in a single game turn, even in an enemy zone of control. Don't be afraid to counterattack when you can see opportunities. All right. So, player 1. Just checking, British setup first, German setup. All German units may begin dug in, which they are. The British player goes first. Yes, I was just double checking that. So, movement. I am a bit confused by these carrier platoons and whites that they have movement allowance. Why they do I have separate units? Are there separate platoon units? I don't recall seeing any. That just little notification there has kind of thrown me a little bit. I'm looking through. I can't see any platoons relating to those. Okay, so a little bit confused straight away. I'm going to keep them in there and see what happens. So where am I going to break through? Where am I going to try and strike? You can see Saint-Pierre out here on the left. I am kind of thinking, just at the outset, of trying to smash through the center here. Let's get the terrain effects chart up as well. So we've got lots of different terrain types. And I want to point these out. We've got fields. We have got, this is light bocage, slightly darker shade, light bocage, light bocage. This blocks line of sight. Okay, the Germans aren't in that. They are back here in the fields. Maybe I'll just modify that. They are in the fields. Okay. I think I can modify that. I'll just adjust my setup a little bit. I don't know why I put them in 0706. This is the German 3 Alf. Within 3 hexes of 4, no. What am I looking here? This is 3 Alf. They set up within 3 hexes of 1401. Or within 4 hexes of 1008, 1108. So 1008 is here. 1, 2, 3. Have I broken the... Have I already cheated? Maybe they have to set up there. That's why they're set up there. I'm not allowed to set up that far advance. Okay, we'll leave it how it is. I think they were within 4 hexes of 1008. I was just following the setup rules. All right, sorry. So light bocage. There are heavy bocage, which is this. Kind of difficult to distinguish. Light bocage, heavy bocage. Okay, you can see some light bocage, you can see some heavy bocage in the hex. There are woods. We have roads throughout. We've got these are secondary roads, these are tertiary roads. We do have other types of roads as well, I'm sure, probably not in this vicinity. We don't have to worry about streams or rivers right now, nor bridges, but there are slopes which around here might affect line of sight. But we ignore line of sight rules because we've only got a line of sight of 1 in this scenario. So I basically have to be adjacent. All right, let's just smash down the middle here. We're going to converge around this area here and try and move through these fields, I think. Okay, let's look at options. I could swing around to the right. Lighter German defences out here. I could then swing through Christo, Bellemare. Lighter German defence, I could swing all the way around, and this will provide me with cover through this heavy bocage. It might give the Germans some defensive benefits around here, but it will also give me the benefit of not having to attack through fields. Conversely, I could come across these fields here. I would be exposed to hacking through these fields. Already the Germans have a solid line. They've got their infantry gun here, dug in. They've got their machine gun here. And yeah, they're already in good cover. Greater density, slightly greater density of Germans in this area. I could swing out to the left out here. Okay, I could move into some of the light bocage and the wooded hexes, so I wouldn't have to be attacking through the fields. But the Germans have some double stacked units here, and there's not a lot. There's only 2 hexes. I think attacking through here is a bad idea because I don't want to be attacking through these open fields. I think this is probably the second best option, but I'm kind of liking the idea of pushing out here and swinging around. So as I'm talking, I'm kind of formulating my plan whilst I look for my tweezers. Here they are. So my plan of attack is developing as I talk. I'm going to try, this does not match my setup because the British set up first and then the Germans set up. So I'm going to try and swing everyone around here, and then we're going to move down through this terrain. And it's hard to see because it's off camera, but I'll be able to advance down through good terrain, good covering terrain down here, 1 hex at a time, not have to attack the Germans from a field. So I'll avoid that 1 shift to the left by attacking through fields, and hopefully preserve some of my valuable British companies, because let me tell you about the victory conditions. The Germans win the instant any 2 British units are eliminated, not merely reduced. So I need to preserve my forces whilst advancing. I win the instant any 3 German units are eliminated. So I can instantly win if I can kill off 3 German units. And that might be what I'm striving for. Otherwise, it ends in the final turn. I win if there are any. I win if there are one or more British infantry companies in Fontenay. If not, the Germans win. A draw is not possible. So either get to Fontenay or lose, or eliminate 3 German units. Let's try and move to the weaker German units. When I say weaker, actually they are weaker. Strength of 2 compared to 3 out here on the left. All right, so movement. I'm going to start by each unit may perform 1 action. I'm going to move. I am going to start out here on the right and try and shift to consolidate around these areas. It is only a 5-turn game, so this is going to be a longer journey. I'm going to see how this works out in the first turn anyway. So we're going to go. This is an enemy zone of control. You must stop upon entering an enemy zone of control. And this is right in front of that infantry gun, which I'm going to try and avoid. So I'm going to go smack into there. All right. And then we'll move into there and into there. All right. So I'm doing all this quite quickly, but to summarize, fields cost 1 movement point out of my 5. Light bockage costs 1 movement point out of my 5. So I can easily move in there. They stop. They have 1 movement allowance. They can move into the heavy bockage, I believe. Actually, you know what? They'll hold. I will move these 2 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they'll prepare to continue moving this direction. Infantry will move up. They will go up like so. They'll move up to there, and we'll shift all these guys up and around, keeping them in cover. All right, so I'm avoiding the open clear fields, which seems to be a dangerous place to go. All my units have moved now. That was pretty straightforward. Other options are attempt recovery, dig in, perform a ranged attack if that was available in the rules, perform AT fire. I can spend reinforcement points to activate reinforcements. And whilst this is happening, player 2's units may conduct FF, which the glossary tells me is friction fire, a ranged attack into a field hex with the intent of halting a moving stack of units. Okay, so I can conduct, but I don't think we're using that rule. At the end of this phase, both sides remove all suppressed markers. Okay, player 1 combat phase. Each of player 1's units in any order may perform one of the following: participate in combat, perform a ranged attack, perform AT fire. This particular scenario is just focused on combat. So we're going to try and do an attack here. I'm going to try and do 2 separate attacks. See what happens. We'll do a 2-to-1 here and a 2-to-1 here in terms of units. Okay, so let's try this. Let's get our combat happening. For combat, we declare what units I'm attacking via combat. I'm attacking this hex here with this hex here. I can do multi-hex combat, but I'm going to try just see how it works with just the numbers I've got. I don't have any. We're not using offensive support, I think, so I don't declare any offensive support. I simply. I'm just double checking stacking. Stacking is 4 units, a maximum of 2 of which may be British infantry companies. So I can have 2 British companies. Actually, that's not a company. That's a platoon. So I could bring a maximum of 2 British companies. I think I can bring another company in here. I think that's not technically a British company. They get their strength from their carriers. So I think I can at most 2 British companies. That's a platoon, I think. Now the rules do have some information on all the special units, and the British carrier platoons are an odd amalgam of infantry and armour. They ignore enemy zones of control. They suffer step reactions. Yeah, not many rules associated with them. Okay. So I'm really uncertain about these carriers. I hope I'm playing this correctly. We now basically add up. This is where if I had support, I'd use the ranged attack table to try to suppress, but I'm not using that in this scenario. Instead, I determine the combat ratio. So I've got 8 plus 8 is 16 on 2, which is 8 to 1. Then I modify that by the various modifiers. So let's work through these. One or more company-sized infantry units. So no, sorry, that's ranged attack. I apologise. Combat modifiers for the combat table. Looking at 8 to 1. Is this an AFV? No. Assaulting across a bridge? No. Red box CS? No. AFV on a night turn? No. A black box CS unit? No. Yellow box CS unit? No. CS is the first number. That's a yellow box to movement, not CS. Do I get the concentric attack bonus? Okay, so concentric attack is if you have units on either side of the defender, you get this bonus. Or if you have units on 3 sides with gaps in between, you get that bonus. That's a no in this case. No ranged fire. All attackers are in the field. So I suffer 1 to the left from attacking from an open position. So that's 1 to the left, which brings me down to 7 to 1. Defender in close terrain? Yes, they are. They're in that heavy bocage, which is close terrain. Another 1 to the left. That brings me down to 6 to 1. Are they dug in? Yes. That brings me down to 5 to 1. Strong point? No. Orange box CS? No. Armor bonus. Do I get the armor bonus from this? I'm currently down to 5 to 1. I'm sure the special rules for this unit will tell me if they have they qualify for the armor bonus. Yes, so they do qualify for the armor bonus. While I'm on this point, let's clarify where that. Okay, so the number in the top right of this unit indicates their armor. Armor, there's no entry in the glossary for armor. Any vehicle unit with an armor rating of 1 or more counts as an AFV. Okay, so we have an AFV, so we have that armor bonus. When one side includes at least 1 unit with an armor of 1 or more, that side receives 1 right column shift when attacking or 1 left when defending. An infantry or MG unit must also be contributing to that combat or assault to qualify. So now I shift back up to 6 to 1. German combined arms, if they have leg units and AFVs, no. It's not a night turn, no. And we're not using assault, so we don't go through the assault modifiers. All right, so we set on 6 to 1, but the maximum column is 5 to 1. So we're looking now at 5 to 1. That's pretty much it. We rolled 2d6. It's a 4. A 5 to 1 4 is a 0-2 result. Okay, so the Germans can either take this as step losses or as retreats. And they are going to say, we don't want to lose any steps. We are going to retreat. The dug in doesn't matter. They simply go 1, 2, and they'll fall back to here. Actually, these are all... We've got the pioneers out here. This is a bit of a mix of pioneers and infantry. So they'll retreat back to there. I believe that should be removed now, and we can advance into that hex, and we'll keep all these formations, all these units together. That's an example of one combat. Let's try this other one. We have got 8 on 2, which is 4 to 1. Let's run through these very quickly. I won't summarize everything. 4 to 1. I'm not in a field, so I don't suffer that. They are dug in, so that becomes 3 to 1. No armor bonus. That's it. So we're looking at 3 to 1 now with the dice roll of 3. A 3 to 1, 3 is 1 attacker loss. All right, so maybe I should have brought something else down here and mixed my odds. That is it for the British turn. There is nothing, as I said, there's no ranged attack here, so there's nothing else to do. We then go to the German player turn, and we would like to get these units out of the way. Now, in terms of movement, having just been playing Salerno, I'd like to do this tack movement kind of idea. I believe there are rules. Minimum movement of one type of thing. Minimum movement. Units with one may always move one hex. It does allow a stack to conduct an assault. They believe they can move Zoc to Zoc. Yes, so I can just go one hex move to here. They lose their dug-in markers. Just to pull back their lines a bit. They're in trouble, I know, but they'll try to survive. And folks, that is... okay, so hold on, close terrain. Zocs do not extend into close terrain. This is close terrain, this is heavy blockage, so they can keep moving. All right, that Zoc, that zone of control does not exert into heavy blockage, so they can keep moving. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll all come down here. Yeah, they'll all come down here and really defend that right flank. Slow the British down. Okay, and folks, I think that is the end of the first turn. This is a 5-turn scenario. That is 1 turn down. I'm going to pause here and have a think about what I've done. And I'll come back with any errors and hopefully continue soon.